Okay, I'm going to call the meeting order. We do roll call.
Commissioner Blomgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Elson?
Yes.
Commissioner Miles is absent. Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Ravazio?
Here.
Commissioner Weingart?
Here.
Vice Chair Janowski?
Here.
Chair Casisa?
If we can stand, pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, at this time, I'm going to open the meeting up for public comment. This is comment for anything that is not on the agenda or is a business item. Yes. If you can just come to the mic and you just speak your name, your address, and we usually limit it to 3 minutes.
My name is Kevin Vasquez. I'm representing a group called Friends of the Fields of Town Park, and we've been in front of the commission a couple times, maybe a year or so back, about developing part of the park for a different type of field use. And I'm just here to kind of check on that and to be interested in the progress and let you all know that the group is motivated to assist in any way possible. And I just wanted to kind of get that back. I'm not sure where it was and just kind of get it back on, not necessarily on track, but just let you guys know that we're still available to assist in any capacity.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Go ahead, Dave.
Can I ask a question? Is this in regards to the synthetic field?
It's in regards to that field, whether it's synthetic or a different type of grass, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else for public comment? Again, not on the agenda item or business item? Okay, I'll go ahead and close public comment. Presentations, we don't have any. Consent calendar. These are items that we routinely take a look at or we discuss. They do not necessarily require further discussion, but if we want to move an item to discuss it, we can. Right now, the only item on here is minutes, and the public has the right to move this item also, that we can set it off to the side and have a further discussion on it. So if everybody doesn't want to do any of that, then is there a motion to go ahead and approve the consent item, which is only 4A, which is the minutes from our September meeting?
I make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Okay, go ahead and call for the vote.
Commissioner Blomgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Elson?
Yes.
Commissioner Miles? Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Ravazio?
Yes.
Commissioner Weingart? Vice Chair Janowski?
Yes.
Chair Casisa?
Yes. Okay, with that, we'll move to 5 business items. If it's okay with the commission, if we can switch 5B and 5A and hear 5B first, which is the update on Skunk Hollow, because we have a number of people, I think, that want to speak on the topic. If that's okay with everybody? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and discuss 5B first, which is update on Skunk Hollow Park, project discussion and direction to staff regarding options for park amenities and equipment to accompany a site plan that will be used in preparation of project scope.
I plan just to give a report. I met with Jared at Public Works last Thursday, I guess it was, and talked to him about possibly getting the site plan done in-house. And so he and I are going to walk out there this week and see if that's possible. He indicated that if it's going to be more than $60,000 on that park, that it will need to go out to bid. But that's as much as I've got right now, and so we will be coming back to you. If he can't do the site plan, I've possibly Rebecca and I have contacted other people that they can do it, but the preference is to do it in-house.
Okay. And the site plan right now just includes the playground area, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I'll take it back to the commission now, open up for public comment. I just want to have a discussion with us and then open up to public comment on the basketball court, because I think we need to we don't need to take a vote on it, but just some kind of a conclusion so we can provide staff direction if they're doing a site plan, if a basketball court should be included or not included. So with that, I'll just open up for discussion between us first, and I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment.
I'll start. I know we've received multiple comments from residents in Marin Estates who feel strongly about not having the basketball court. I am definitely inclined to agree with that perspective. You know, people that have been living there that have the park, and we've had community input, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people, but I mean, I just feel like this is their little park. It's right next to their house. They certainly have the right to not have us change it by putting in a basketball court, just for the noise and all that stuff. So I also think I understand that some of the residents want to have a hoops court on the east side. I think we should look at other potential locations for one. I don't think there's a problem with adding a hoops court somewhere. Both of my boys play basketball, great sport, but I just don't think it makes sense in Marina Estates.
You know, I think we definitely need to respect the wishes of the people living right around the park, which seems to be no to a basketball court. But I also feel like it needs to be mentioned that this is a public park open to the entire town, not just for one neighborhood. It's a public park run and maintained by the Parks and Rec Department. I think we absolutely need to keep in mind the people living close to the park and what they want, and not make any significant changes to it without, you know, people being in favor of it. But just to keep in mind that, you know, people from other neighborhoods can come in and use this park, and that it is for the entire town of Corte Madera.
Okay. Pat or Nate?
I have a question of staff, of our brand-new staff. Have we vetted other locations on the Bayside? Do we have some backup locations? And if not, then how do we get started to make that happen?
Not at this time, as I understand it. We have not vetted that issue, but that's certainly something that when the new director is hired, they can put on he or she's plate.
So we would have to wait until that time rather than get started ourselves, or?
At this point, yes. That's what I would recommend.
I think one thing we may be able to do is we may be able to get potentially from the town or staff, just a potential listing of sites. At least not get started, but at least that would just give us some insight into it. And I know, like, I want to say Old Granada School has come up before, where they have a basketball. It's pretty in bad shape. And I know Cove, it's the same thing. It's in pretty bad shape there.
Oh, yeah, the Coves is
Yeah.
definitely needs. But there are basketball courts on the east side already. And so I think it's definitely worth looking at potential sites for some other things people want on the east side as well.
Are there supporters of the hoop here tonight that we could see if they've got suggestions for other locations, or?
We'll find out under public comment.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? No? Okay. I think I echo Emily's comments. And one thing on Sarah's comment, I agree with you that the parks, they're public, so they're open to everybody. I think the one thing that's a little bit unique about this is that Skunk Hollow is actually considered, I think, a mini park to a certain degree, which I think it's not. I think it was built back in the 60s or whenever, kind of for that neighborhood. That's why it's called a mini park. Again, but anybody's welcome to go there. I think that's just a little bit unique twist on it.
Yeah.
With that, I will go ahead and open up to public comment. If you can just, again, use the mic, give name, and then address, and try to keep it to 3 minutes. Rebecca will have a little timer going up. If you run a couple minutes over, that's fine.
Well, I'll start. Very gratified to hear that your opinions are the same opinions of those of us in Marina Estates, and also to speak on everybody is welcome, but within the Corte Madera General Plan approved on December 2009, a mini park is specifically designed to serve a concentrated area, and anyway, it's already written in who it serves. And yes, anybody can come, but it's very specific that it's supposed to serve that specific neighborhood. And also, I think now is a good time, and maybe I should have brought this up before, but you know, there's not even a sign to say, hey, slow down, this is a park. Might be something to be considered by you all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, could you just state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Roger Craco, 66 El Camino Drive in Corte Madera.
Don't be afraid.
Hi, I'm Jason Baker. I'm on Group 5 Granada Drive. I was asked to come here by a bunch of people who live right around the area who couldn't come tonight. But I think you answered the question, my question. Did you get all the emails from
Yeah.
all our local people?
Yeah.
That's all I had. Thanks.
Thanks.
Since I came all the way here, I might as well get up. Patrick McCarthy, 33 Paloma Drive, and I support everything that the council and the commission said. So I think that is important that we just focus on rehabilitating the existing mini park and making it better and safer for the kids that it serves. Thank you.
Thanks.
Evening, Zach Tolson, 70 El Camino Drive. I sent you all an email earlier, probably late. Sorry about that. I will just reiterate what other people have said that, well, first of all, I live right next to the park, so I don't really want to hear bouncing basketballs until sundown, but I understand that it is a park and it is open to the public. But that being said, the addition of a basketball court is contrary to the Corte Madera general plan as well as the countywide Marin technical specifications from 2005, which I attached to my earlier email, which indicate that mini park is really for a small community of about 500 people or less within a very small walking distance. Of course, open to the public, but it's really for the people that live right around it. And I want to have it renovated, maybe a new structure, fix the sand, but don't have to go new and extravagant with new things like basketball courts. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Jimmy Clapper. I live at 74 El Camino, and me and my wife just moved in February. So when we first saw the signs up about maybe a basketball court, my wife's like, I don't even know if we should have an opinion. We just moved in. I'm all, what do you mean? We live literally across the street from the park. Our opinion matters as much as anybody's. And we've got two sons. One turned 6 in February and an 18-month-old. And I think a basketball court, like I played basketball in high school, we're Catholic, and if somebody really wanted to play basketball that bad, you go down to the Cove. It's not that far to walk to the Cove. It's like 5 minutes, and there's quite a few basketball courts there. And I guess there's the Golden Poppy, I guess that's the old Granada School there. Somebody said there's old hoops there, and they could fix those up. It would make way more sense. It just seems a little bit overkill, but they would have to do the grayed out part of the park to make the basketball court, a level spot for the basketball court, or else, take away the benches or something to make it, to put it over there. It just doesn't seem like it makes sense. But thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rich Perlstein. I'm at 9 Vista Court, so I'm not an immediate neighbor to the park, but, been in the neighborhood for 30 years, and everybody goes down to the park to take their kids to play on the play structure. So my thoughts on it, just to echo what you just said, the Granada School, it's wide open, and the hoops are there. I think it would be a lot less money to work an agreement with Reed School District to do an asphalt overlay, buy some new nets, take care of that. There's no reason to be adding one more court to this area. The other thing I was going to say is that, when petitions are great for a lot of things, but if you have one name on a petition or 30 names or 100 names on a petition, sometimes there may be 100 names, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the thing for which the petition is intended is the right thing to implement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Rick Sullivan. I'm at 30 El Camino Drive. I think we're getting close to 30 years we've been there, and our kids enjoyed that park as it is. And I must say that I would like to see some of the equipment. If it needs repair, go ahead and repair. If it could just be rehab, just rehab it. I don't think the kids really care that it's a little shabby. Maybe it's not the most popular thing you see in Sears Roebuck catalog, or going to Costco, the newest in toys. So I think kids really don't mind that. I've talked to mine who grew up using that. When they come over, they take their kids there. So speaking from that vantage point, I don't live next to it, obviously, but I do respect those that have a voice that says they don't want it across there. Excuse me, getting a little anxious here, revved up. See, what else is there? Oh, and if it's later on, in this meeting, I would like to hear, if possible, or at least direct me how to get it, the various rehab projects that you've, or ways of fixing it up that you've already got in place, you're already looking at. That's something available? Am I clean? Am I clear?
As far as playground equipment or?
Yeah, playground equipment. I believe back about 2 or 3 months ago, I was at one, and there was various levels of rehab to the place, you know, all new stuff, or
I think
some things.
Drawings?
that was from back in April when we had community input. And I think
Well, have you, my question is, have you gone forward, and what are your thoughts now as to either rehab it or all new equipment, or change out a lot of stuff?
It's my understanding that we're looking at new equipment. The safety laws have changed. Anytime you do something to equipment, then existing California laws on safety would apply. So,
You got to polish the nuts on underground so they don't contaminate and all. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Emily Charlie. I'm at 10 El Camino, and really I just wanted to talk because I don't want that bozo to be the last voice you hear. That's on the record, right?
Plus you're being filmed.
And filmed. Great. It's really memorialized. I also want to just lend my voice to my neighbors here, both appreciative that they came out and that this is on the commission's dance card, if you will. I actually was one of the squeaky wheels about 1.5 years ago that complained about the termite riddled structure, and was hoping that this was something that Parks and Rec could address. So I have a 5-year-old. We play there often. I will say I understand that the law requires an updating, and that can be somewhat burdensome, but it doesn't have to be extravagant. That to Rick's point, the kids love it. They just want a place. I think the one big push that I made in the meetings was swings. But those are sort of low budge and easy. But the open space for everybody is welcome, but particularly for the neighborhood, I think is important. So I'm really glad you guys are on it, and hopefully it will move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on public comment? I'll give you 30 seconds.
I'm going to do it in 10. The area that's a green space, if you're looking at the park, there's a green space off to the left. Is there anything to be done with drainage over there? Some sort of, keep it from being so soppy when it rains?
We'll have Dave make a note, and then when he deals with getting conceptual drawings and talking to whoever we have come in to build it out, we can have a discussion with them at that point.
That's included in that's why we need a site plan for
Very good.
Drainage is
Very
one of
good.
the issues.
Yeah, because it can get mud that, it's sloppy. All righty.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll go ahead and close it for public comment, bring it back to the commission. So what we're looking for is to provide staff direction on a conceptual plan for Skunk Hollow to either include or exclude a basketball court. Again, we're not going to take a vote, we're just looking for some kind of a consensus. So
Through
Go
the
ahead.
chair, I think staff does have consensus, so no basketball court.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so you'll go ahead and move forward with the conceptual drawings without a basketball court in there.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll pass that on to Public Works, to Jared.
Okay, at the same time, can we keep it out there somewhere that if we can take a look at either town property or doing something with Reed School District to see if we can find someplace over there that we can either improve the basketball court or again, maybe do some kind of a deal with Reed School District because it would benefit those schools up there also. So it could be a win-win type situation for everybody. If we can get that kind of in the works or take a look at that?
I'll give them a call.
Okay, thank you. Did you want to?
Well, I'd love to comment overall, just, so we're past the basketball issue? You've
Correct.
got the consensus on that?
Correct.
I would just like to say that I'm sort of new to the Skunk Hollow project. I haven't been around long enough to have really wrapped my head around it, but I did do some reading, and I agree about the swings. Because what I read about swings is that it helps moms to have time to socialize with one another and get to know one another, because the kids are busy on the swings, and there's something just more social about swings. So I would vote for swings, and I would vote for at least one little baby swing with the little, where the toddler's legs are, yeah. Because
I think just for background, we had brought that up meetings prior to when you came on board. And I think we had staff which was going to take a look at. They just didn't know about how much, working with the designer, how much space is needed for a swing.
Yeah.
The little tiny ones, it's one thing, but putting in bigger ones. The other thing
I think the
people-
bigger ones are a liability now. I heard, we used to have great ones in Town Park, and we took those out 15 years ago, so.
The other people I know had wanted also was not a little sand pit type thing, but I'll just make this up, something like 3 feet by 3 feet that could be covered like a little sand pit like that, so kids could play in it. But
That's
something
fine.
so that's covered so animals can't get in there at night, which has happened.
That's fine. I just wanted to make a comment about the swings. I think it's
Thanks. Anybody else? Okay. So we'll go ahead and move back to 5A, which is dog park update, both on what happened at the Planning Commission meeting two weeks ago, and also on dog park rules.
I'd like to stay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You guys are
Feel
more than
free.
welcome to stay.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, I met with Jared. The dog park was approved. Was approved by the Planning Commission. Rebecca has the date. I can't remember what the date was. I've met with Public Works. At this point, where it is on their plate that the dog park needs to be designed and then put out to bid. And they gave me a rough estimate about doing all that and possibly having a timeline of building sometime in the spring. So it is in their court and on their list of things to do. What they have asked from the Park and Rec Commission is which is in front of you now, is your purview is to come up with rules for the park. So with that, I will turn it back to the chair for discussion on that item.
Okay. So like Dave said, what we have to do is come up with a set of rules for dog park. I think staff did put some examples in there. So I don't know if we want to do a mix and match, or if there's one in particular, or take one and then try to add to that list.
I thought the Sausalito ones looked pretty good. Simple and not too.
You know, I like keeping it kind of simple.
I have to put a plug in for my wife. She's the one who took the picture of the Red Hill dog park. She hadn't seen it, so I brought her out there and take that picture. So that's why it's a little shady.
So comments, suggestions?
Do we have any thoughts about maximum number of dogs per person?
Yeah, I mean, it's in here in this one, but it says it's in their Sausalito code. So I wonder if that's something that we need to amend.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know
Red
we've-
Hill says 6. That seems,
The Sausalito says 3.
yeah.
I think that's more like
And
it.
Dog Bone Meadow is also 3 in Novato.
Yeah, I think 6 is too many.
6 is too many.
I think 3 is good.
3,
3 is good. If we go any higher, we're going to end up attracting those people who can't go to those other parks.
right,
So,
I agree.
Or dog walkers, or.
well, that's
Yeah.
what we're concerned about, I
Yeah.
think, is the professional dog walkers with their dozen or 10 or.
I don't know if it's in here, but I was speaking with someone who uses the Red Hill Dog Park a lot, and they were saying that treats are not allowed. That it causes like competitiveness against the dogs, and want to consider that, or if it's in here at all.
That's not in their list.
It's number 6 on Red Hill is do not bring food into the park. So.
Oh, okay, I
That
wasn't
would
thinking
include-
And
treats.
same in
treats.
Sausalito too. It says food is discouraged. If your food causes problems, please remove
There you
it.
go. Mm-hmm.
It's probably smart.
Food's for adults, right? Not for dogs.
Or either.
You can still bring dog treats. So I guess the question is, do we want to go with Sausalito has with amending again, putting in whatever our codes would be for Corte Madera and/or Central Marine Police Authority? I think there's 2 spots in there.
I think Sausalito is a little overly complicated and doesn't even say that people need to clean up after their pets.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
don't think
that's a
it's a really
good one.
good starting point.
Okay.
The 5 things that I think would be key that you would need are vaccinated dogs, a limit of 3 dogs, no unattended dogs, you must clean up after your pets, and possibly no food.
Okay.
Some of the other stuff like aggressive or unneutered dogs, like these are things that are kind of obvious, and so we need to say that there can't be aggressive dogs or fighting dogs. I mean, I think having that on a sign is not going to help anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you, no climbing or jumping fences, it's
Yeah.
like, we're gonna have it's not even gonna be a tall fence, so I agree with Nate. We can clean it up.
And the less rules, the more likely people are to read them. The longer the sign gets, the less likely people are to read it. So.
Okay. Do we want to keep the one in about children must be with an adult?
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's probably a good idea. And I mean, there could be a 1-sentence statement of dogs must be well behaved, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Just so the town or police have authority to say,
Yeah.
in my judgment, your dog is not well behaved. And
Yeah.
They do have this line, any dogs, including unneutered dogs that incite fighting must be removed. So that does say if they're aggressive.
Right.
Do some of them outlaw unneutered dogs?
Yeah, some of them do.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about that.
So I just gave 5 potential rules, and then children must be with an adult, and animals must be well behaved, or something along those lines would be 7 rules, and that seems to cover just about everything. It says people must be wearing a current license, but most people don't even have a physical license for their dogs anymore. I don't know if we want to say that dogs must be chipped, but nobody's going to be out there checking chips. Like, it's just not going to happen.
The
So,
vaccinations is the big one for the dogs, I think.
yeah.
And I think one thing would be nice to have at the bottom is, what are you supposed to do if you see somebody breaking these rules? Is there a phone number to call? Do they call the police? Do they call the Parks and Rec Department? Do they call Rebecca?
Call Fred.
You know, who do
Dave's
they
cell phone
call?
number.
What do they do if you see somebody violating these rules and wish to report it? Please call
X, and who's the X?
XYZ. And
Yeah, who is that?
I don't know.
Central Marin Police Authority. So their non-urgent number?
Yeah.
I think that's a good
5150.
idea.
50/50, the main town hall
5150,
number,
yeah.
50/50?
5150
51?
for the Central Marine Police.
Central Marin Police?
Do not call 911.
5150, so it would be go to the police department, okay. So we should say that to let them know that they are calling the police,
Okay.
rather than just have the phone number.
Right.
So we're okay then with the 7 rules? It's 7 now, right?
Yeah, I'll read them one more time. 1,
Okay.
vaccinations.
Do me a favor, just read them slow.
Yeah.
So, thanks.
Yeah, nothing new from what I said before, but 1, vaccinations. 2, a limit of 3 dogs. 3, no unattended dogs. 4, owners must clean up after their pets. 5, no food. 6, children must be accompanied by an adult. 7, pets must be well behaved.
And then somewhere on there, call, if there's an issue or whatever, call Central Marin Police.
Central Marin
Bottom.
Police, non-urgent.
Do we want an
And what about
8?
hours? Weren't we talking about putting the hours on it, or are we just gonna assume it's park?
Dawn to dusk.
Yeah, the planning commission right now posted the hours, and staff has discussed that, and we've recommended that we continue to do what the planning commission said, and then review it in 6 months.
But would
possibly go to.
would the hours need to be on our list of
I
rules?
would think so. Yes.
Yeah, that's the only
So
thing
was
I
it
would-
dawn to dusk? Oh, what did they say?
I believe it was, I think it was 7 to 5 during winter months and 7 to 7 during summer months. And they approved that. When it went before them, it was basically a conditional use permit, if I can remember, so that's what they approved. They brought the rules back to the commission and any other design type work back to us and back to staff also, so they didn't get involved with that piece of it.
Through the chair, I think that's overly detailed and hard for people to remember when dawn to dusk is so simple that I would just suggest if you do want to try it out, let's not put it on the permanent sign so that we have to replace the permanent signs at a later date. It just doesn't seem to be necessary to have an earlier than dusk end time for a dog park when the park itself is still open all the way till dusk.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. The Planning Commission and the Planning Department staff worked with the neighborhood after direction from council to contact the neighbors who had concerns about the park going into that spot. And this was the conclusion they reached with the neighborhood, was that they would support the dog park, because the problem with dawn to dusk is that dusk is very late in the middle of the summer. Dusk can be 9 o'clock. And the neighbors of the park had concerns about possibly loud and barking dogs late into the evening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I would still hold my suggestion that we put the hours separate from the main sign with all the rules, because it might very likely change as we go forward, since they're.
And that would be staff's recommendation, is for the commission to review this in 6 to 8 months and see how everything's going, and then move forward.
What about an age for children? There's a 12 years for Red Hill, nothing for the Sausalito, but no children. Do we want to define what children? 12?
Maybe that's Ms. Weingardt's job.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that too, is that what if you just say children? If you just say like children without actually defining an age, then it's pretty ambiguous and it can be taken differently by anybody. But I think if you were to define an age, it would be 12.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we just want to add children in
12 and
parentheses
under.
under 12 or however. we want
Under
it.
12.
Yeah.
Like right now, okay.
Okay, so
good.
we're
I like
good
it.
with all the
Yeah.
rules then?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
You don't need to say no smoking, do we?
No.
That's implied.
We do have signs elsewhere in Town Park that I believe say no smoking in Town Park, but I'll double check on that.
Thanks. Okay, anything else? Any other questions on dog park? No? Okay. We'll move to 5C. I got reading glasses. Discussion direct staff regarding request for cancellation November 25th meeting and possible cancellation or rescheduling December 23rd meeting. Basically, one is Christmas and the other one is Thanksgiving. So do we want to just skip, I want to say the month of December, and then our next meeting would be in January?
I think staff's recommendation was that we do an early December meeting, or do you guys feel like, Dave, do you feel like it's important, or could we, if things are kind of going along, can we wait till January?
I would recommend at this, we can always call a special meeting if there's a problem, but I would recommend January, because I'll give you the timeline for the new director, and that'll, at that point, hopefully we'll know who that person is.
Okay.
And then
Okay, so is everybody okay with that then?
Can you repeat that, skipping the December meeting?
Skipping our November meeting, which would be, I think, next week.
Right.
Skipping the December meeting, so our next meeting would be in January, and then if need be, we can call a special meeting. Go ahead, Pat.
Just my only concern is that we have been trying to get this update on the Town Park Master Plan going, and I thought January would be a really great time. People are bored at home, it's raining, we can get them to turn out. So I don't want to keep putting off things that we could get started on. Unless you need to wait for the new director for that.
that would be, and I thought somebody had discussed that would be something for the new recreation director to take on first thing out of the gate, so, which would be in January anyway, so.
but January starting to plan it means it's gonna take a whole nother year to get it done. And I don't know that we really need to wait. I mean, we have people involved who have been involved for a long time, and we have people like Jonna Hale who are very happy to come in and work with us, and we have there's a great volunteer facilitator who has offered to come in. So I just hate to put everything on hold while we wait for one person who's going to be overwhelmed with a lot of responsibility when they come in. So I'm ready to go, and I really hate to keep being delayed.
Does that need, can you start doing some of the background work now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've already developed a document that is and isn't this on the agenda?
I don't think it is.
Isn't the
no.
town park master plan?
No,
on
it
the
is,
agenda?
but that was the
Should we-
update
should
I
we
was going to
wait?
give, so why don't we
Should
wait?
we wait for
It's
that?
under
We
Dave's
can wait and
report, has
talk
an
about it
update.
then. Okay.
Okay, do we need to vote on canceling those meetings and rescheduling, or having, okay? So is there a motion to basically cancel the November 25th meeting, cancel the December 23rd meeting? So our next meeting will be in January, but if there's a need to, we'll have a special meeting between now and then.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to cancel November, December, and then move it to January, special if necessary.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, go and call for the vote.
Commissioner Blomgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Elson?
Yes.
Commissioner Miles? Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Ravazio?
Yes.
Commissioner Weingart? Vice Chair Janowski?
Yes.
Chair Casissa?
Yes. Okay, moving to 6, report, director's report, interim director's update.
That would be me. It's good to be back. Been very busy down there, but I'm going to try and give you an update on everything that's been going on. The timeline for the recruitment of the new recreation director, we are, Rebecca and Todd and I are meeting with the human resource person, Janet, and I think we've finalized the attributes. We've got the emails from you on what you are looking for in the ideal candidate. She will be preparing a brochure, hopefully to go out this week. We anticipate a mid-December deadline for people to apply. I've actually already had 2 or 3 phone calls and met with a couple people already, so it's a very attractive position. I'm excited. If I was 15 years younger, I'd apply. I mean, there's just so much potential for this department. And we're looking at interviews right after the first of the year, and hopefully have somebody on board February 1st. My time here ends January 29th, so I'm hoping there are, I'm a little flexible, though I can stay for a little longer if need be. So that's the timeline. Any questions on that before I move forward? Okay.
I'm assuming we're not involved in interviews or selection or anything.
That's not true. The chair and the vice chair have agreed to be in on that process, since that's, they're going to be doing a lot of work with the commission. So,
Okay, great.
yes, they will be involved.
And if anybody has any input they want to give either Dave or Rebecca on what, I want to say the qualities or any potential questions for a candidate that may come up, feel free to either talk to them or, again, just shoot them an email. And again, it could be questions, it could be, certain criteria, whatever you think may be helpful in the selection process.
Okay, moving to the basketball court, the new rims were put in last Friday. I wasn't here Friday, I was at a wedding in LA, but they had called and asked to, the rims arrived a week ago, and Public Works said they're going to supervise the installation of the new rims. And to be honest, I didn't go out there today and check it out, but I think the proper rims are now up and moving, so. Any input from the commission on how it looks, or?
I haven't seen the new backboards, but I know that
Just the court in general,
yeah.
really.
Oh, I think it looks great.
It does.
I just have to say that the use of the court has gone up dramatically since it's been resurfaced. I've seen a large increase in how many people are out there playing, which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
The only little thing I noticed was I went there right after the rains. What day? I can't remember what day it rained, and there was some pooling that made me think, oh, it seems like it should have been a little. But I guess it's not a big deal.
That's common for
Normal,
outdoor
okay.
courts, so.
Okay.
Office remodel, the update is there needs to be cleared with Brian Fuente, is that his name? Brian? Fenty, thank you. Still learning names, everybody. Brian needs to give his final okay in talking to Jared. Once he gets the final okay, there will be prepared for a bid package, so it's getting close, and they anticipate going out to bid, getting some bids, and having the office remodeled by early spring. So, long time coming, and it needs it. So now Town Park Master Plan. Rebecca just told me that the town manager had requested that we wait until January on that, but that's not to say that some background work can't be started on that. But until we get a new director, and with a lot on our plate right now, there's really not too much staff can do at this point to assist. But Commissioner Ravazio, I can certainly discuss that with you on Wednesday when we meet.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Yep.
And let me give you just, I know it's really not on the agenda, but I wanted to give you an update on my first month. I've met with staff, and we have a dynamite staff down there. I've just also hired Erin Duggan, who's right now a recreation assistant, but we're in the process of changing her title to a recreation coordinator. Her first task is to tackle the brochure, to assist our recreation supervisor, and to work on the website. Erin's specialty is in youth classes, and the direction, at least a year ago, and I haven't really had a chance to talk to the commissioner, is we need to juice up our youth programming. So she's going to get on that right away. She's already met with our summer playground director, and they're in the process of bouncing ideas off of their head to improve summer playground, although it's been pretty good the last couple of years. So Erin's also in, we're sharing her with Larkspur. She's keeping her duties in Larkspur with the developmentally disabled program. And probably at some point we'll move some of those programs possibly over here, have the dance here, whatnot. Erin also has an extensive teen group that helps with the developmentally disabled program and for teen volunteers. She supplied 6 teenagers for the Oktoberfest at the last minute, so she's hit the ground running. I've also put her in charge of the new studio, which they're getting ready to rename, by the way, so giving them, that'll be in the new program also. Christina Martin is now going to be in charge of programming and supervising the activities at Neil Cummins Gym, making sure that the gym is opened and locked up in time, and trying to improve communication in the schools. And we have 2 new part-time people who were there during the power outage, and Jessica and Alice, sorry to say I don't know their last names, I just call them Jessica and Alice, but they did a dynamite job, so they'll be good in assisting. Nancy will be in charge of our Neil Cummins bookings, and hopefully my 2 main goals between now and the end of January is to improve the communication among staff and also to improve customer service. So we met with that, and the edict I gave staff is to, if you walk away from the desk and assume that somebody has made the phone call, and check that voicemail. I've heard too many instances of people who call down there and don't get a return phone call. And I'm as guilty of that as anybody, so I'm working on that myself right now, because in my office it's a very strange ring, and I don't always pick it up, so I've got to remind myself I got to pick up the voicemail too. But overall, I'm impressed. I was brought here to do an evaluation of the total program, and so I'm in the process of that. And so I'll give it another month and report back before I leave.
Any questions for Dave? No?
How do we make you 15 years younger so you'll apply for the job? That was a
No
facetious
comment.
question, 'cause yeah.
So Dave, when you described the, like Christina coordinating at the gym and Aaron doing youth programs, is that a different structure than we had in the past? Is this kind of distributing the workload a little bit more than
That was one of my concerns when I was here a year ago. It seemed to be centrally, and the former director and the supervisor more or less did everything without, branching out. So, and to me, they got overwhelmed. And I'm very confident in the staff and giving him the responsibilities. So the new director may come in and want to be centralized again. I don't know, but this is just the way I want to do it. I want to get them involved and make them a little more accountable. And for instance, I met with Christina, and some of the things in the on the why we do things certain ways were never really explained to them. For instance, CYO rents the gym. They get a different, price. And so I backed them up because CYO was instrumental in getting the gym built going on 10, 15 years ago. So explaining to them why things are done, it makes a little bit more sense. I guess I should mention one other thing. We have one person on leave right now. She's taking care of her sister who has cancer. I anticipate her coming back. That's Debbie Corrali, I believe is her name. And to me, she's outstanding too, so she'll just fit right in. And once the new director comes in, I think the new director will have options on the organizational structure, whether to add somebody or whether it's adequate right now with the staffing. So,
Anything else?
I'd like to just add one thing about CYO. I was formerly the athletic director of the CYO volleyball program, and one of the reasons why we fought for the gym and continue to expect and hope that the gym will support the program is that I think at last count 80% of the players were from the public schools. Even though the program's run by the Catholic school, there's very few kids at St. Pat. So the majority of the kids in the program are Neil Cummins students, Hall students, Cove students, Marin Primary, everybody else in town. So, and it does bring the community together, and so I hope that support for that program will
I
continue.
think it's higher than 80%. And the same thing happened in Larkspur. They really came together to get the gyms built at that time. I don't know, those of you who are here, the Hall gym was like how do you describe it?
An egg carton.
Thank you. But, and it was a push. There were some people in the community at that time didn't want a full-size gym. But again, CYO really came to bat back then.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, commissioner reports, October, November town council updates.
I attended. I don't think there was too much related to Parks and Rec. One update I would like to give, though, is Mayor Andrews approached me about his idea for a location for a dog park on the Bayside. And his suggestion is that we evaluate the location directly across from the CHP, where there is a parking lot and there is a pull-off. And there is a location where there could be a long dog run, which would help people not release their dogs into the marsh to get their run, but they could do it right there. So originally, there was thinking that it was going to be the bird ladies would go too crazy, but we think we can pitch it as a way to keep the dogs out of the marsh by giving people a place to run their dogs within a fenced area so they don't get out into the marsh.
When you say a parking lot, are you meaning at the end of Harbor?
No, it's right across from the CHP. It's just a little pull-off to service the pump. It's just a small parking lot. It services the pump station.
I don't know, parking lot.
It is. I mean, it's got a pull-off, and it's a gravel
lot that maybe
many
could be
cars?
expanded a little bit?
I think, hold on.
It's too much. We're on the agenda, I
Yeah, I
know.
think
So
let Rebecca-
I would like to
I'll let-
agendaize this in the future if we can.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
you were going to say what I was going to say.
Yeah, we need to not talk about too much.
Okay.
So can we put it on a future agenda?
I think we can put it on there, but I think we're going to have to look to staff to figure out where over there, because if it's where you're talking about, I don't know how feasible it is to put a parking lot in that area. So I think we're going to have to, I know the gravel area you're talking about, because I've seen both Central Marin police cars parked there sometimes.
We were discussing it now.
Right, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
So yeah, we can ask them to come back to us at the next meeting. But we're going to have further discussion on it.
Okay, and I don't want to overtax staff when they're so busy, but.
The other thing that came up at town council meeting, two things came up, I think at the November meeting, because Emily and myself both attended. One was, obviously, they approved Dave's contract, I think till January or so, January 29th. The other thing also, they gave direction to staff to start looking at consolidation with the Park and Rec departments with Larkspur and Corte Madera. So again, they gave them direction on that.
Through the chair, I
Yeah.
failed to mention that in my report, and I
That's
should
okay.
have. I do apologize for that. There is a strong, very strong consensus for Corte Madera to at least begin the process of consolidation. And that'll be something that we look at with the new director. There's a little hesitation in Larkspur right now, but I think we're moving in that direction. We're sharing an employee right now, Aaron Duggan. We co-do the recreation brochure, and we're actually sharing a person building or opening up the gym right now. So baby steps.
Okay. Exec Advisory Committee, we didn't meet. Do you want to talk about the programming committee? Because that, I want to say it's somewhat on hold, I guess.
Yeah, and I haven't talked to Rebecca about this, but I would like to recommend that once the meetings start, probably after the first of the year again, when the new director is, that Erin Duggan attend those meetings and give her input on kids' classes and also handle the scheduling. I did talk to you about that.
You're better than you know.
15 years younger.
Any other individual commissioner updates?
I thought, I don't know if this is the way that we handled the power outages was really awesome. I came here and powered up right here in Town Hall. There was a lot of people. I saw a big crowd at the rec center. Heard there was hot dogs and all kinds of things going on, and I just think Corte Madera is amazing. It was really a good response.
Yeah, I think that's big kudos to Rebecca.
Yes.
who
No, that's
kind of
not why I was raising.
kickstarted the whole, she kind of started the whole thing, and then it
Own
just
it.
got taken to another level. But yeah, I think there's something like 12 or 1,500 people that came through in the short time. And I'd actually, because my mom lives in Terralinda, I actually went to Sarah Fell in the morning to their community center off 3rd Street or wherever there, which is super huge. They had a line to get into there because they didn't have a lot of power strips. So we left there, came here, and we were able to power up in food, socializing. It's like typical Corte Madera fashion.
And
So
then you helped him
hats
barbecue.
off.
Yes, the chair did a wonderful job barbecuing. One of the commissioners said she was going to supply tequila and failed, but other than that, it was fun.
But I did want to say that one of Erin Duggan's first comments as a town employee was she had thoughts and ideas on how the recreation department can help with these types of events and offerings to the community going forward. And the first one was have her listing of available teenagers and youth coordinators who can come in and take the kids that were just sitting around and take them outside and lead them in basketball or games or something on the field or board games, art projects, just basically ways to keep different sectors of our community busy while we were all dealing with the same emergency. So I thought that was a really great way to jump in as a new town employee.
Thanks. Anybody else? No? Okay. Future agenda items. I guess we'll have Skunk Hollow back on there at the next meeting. Anything else? Go ahead.
I think it would really help. You've got a lot of community sentiment behind wanting a basketball hoop on the bay side. I think putting that on the agenda with just, even if it's just, we're all going to look for a location and we're all going to try to find a location, it might be really helpful because they're going to be angry. And
Okay.
there's no reason for them to be angry. We'll keep going until we find them a basketball park.
Okay, if we get that on the agenda also.
Yeah, and again, I'll call the Union School District and see if we can at least start the discussion toward rehabilitation of the
great.
hoops, so.
Yeah, that would be great.
And that's
Anything-
not something a new director is going to oppose or have any issue with, yeah.
Any other agenda items? If anything comes up between now and then, you let myself, Emily, Dave, or Rebecca know. Okay, anybody have anything else? No? Okay, then we're adjourned. I'm sorry, did you have something else?
No, I'm just marveling that it was in there.
Good job, Fred.
Okay, we're adjourned. Now we're off the record.